to this lesson. What a privilege to have you in my class, and welcome to those joining us online. How are you guys in class? Are you doing well?
Yes, sir.
All right, I think you're looking forward to the camp tomorrow, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but before we get there, I want to talk you through some mechanical components and features that's important for you to take note of and understand when it gets to mechanical drawings. Okay, ons gaan kyk na 'n paar meganiese komponente en eienskappe wat in hierdie tipe van meganiese komponente gevind word wat jy van moet bewus wees en wat jy moet ken. Okay, so I've got a selection of mechanical components here. There's a couple of others lying around here, and I'm going to take a moment to talk through the different features on these and the components so you see the actual components for themselves, how they function, and then we're going to get to the worksheets 2.1 till 2.3 to actually be able to answer the questions that's provided for us. So let me clear this, and we're going to start off with the camshaft, and it gives you opportunity to see it and of course to take note of it and actually learn from this. So I've got here a camshaft that actually comes out of a Volkswagen City Golf. I know a lot of you aspire to driving one of those beauties, and so this camshaft has got some features that is important for you. So first of all, the shaft that runs all the way through it, of course, is called the shaft. Okay, 'n as. In Afrikaans is hierdie 'n nokas. Die hele as hier is 'n nokas. In English, it's called a camshaft. Okay, and on this camshaft, there's different features. We have our cams here situated evenly spaced. But let's look at the features that's on this. So each cam here has got a 45-degree angle that was machined, which is called a chamfer. 45-degree chamfer. In Afrikaans is dit 'n 45 grade afkanting. Dis gemachineer daar, is met 'n doel daar, okay? 'n afkanting. That's the thing that you have to remember. Then if you look carefully, you will see that there is a round edge there on the inside. When it is on the inside like that, it is called a fillet. In Afrikaans is daardie ronding daar aan die binnekant 'n filet. Filet. Jy spel dit dieselfde. It's not a fillet steak. It's called a fillet. Okay. What's interesting on this end here is, of course, this camshaft is joined into a bigger engine or machine. And here is something interesting. It's called a keyway. In Afrikaans is it 'n spygleef. Okay, so on the end here there might be a disc of some sort, and it needs to be joined to this camshaft, and they use a keyway with a key inside to make sure that the rotation of this shaft is transferred to maybe the flywheel, for instance. Okay, so 'n spygleef is hierdie, en dan wat in dit kom is 'n spy. Okay, so two words, keyway, and what goes into this is a key. Now this keyway has got a hole inside. If I had to draw that, okay, it's got a hole like this on the inside. Okay, so the key, when I actually insert the key in here, that key would have this shape. Right, I'm going to just draw it for you. It's going to fit snugly into that keyway, and it's going to have a end that extends beyond the surface, right? And it's this that will tie into whatever flywheel or whatever is on that end. Does that make sense to you? So it won't be able to rotate. All right. Then of course you've got surface here that are not machined. That's just as it was casted. Okay. But then you'll have surface that's smoother that is machined. Okay. And the way of indicating these machined parts is with a symbol that looks like this. Very simply a symbol, and on the drawings you'll see it right at that surface. So every one of these parts that has a machined surface will have that symbol next to it. Of course, there's a couple of other things that adds to that to actually explain what kind of finishing, but that is how you would indicate on a drawing a machined component. Okay, then at the end here we have the shaft, but what do we have here? A shoulder. Okay, a shoulder on a shaft. This end here is called skouer op 'n as. So a lot of this is self-explanatory, but that was our camshaft. Let's look at the next part here, which is our bolt. All right, and so this bolt has different components. We've got our external screw thread here that's clearly visible, and then you have on this end here, or the shaft, and here you have an angled end, okay, which is called a taper. So it says we've got a straight edge here, and then it tapers. So there's a change in the diameter at an angle, is called a taper. In Afrikaans is 'n tapsheid. Enige skynste op 'n as wat ek van 'n groter diameter na 'n kleiner diameter toe gaan, word 'n tapsheid genoem. Okay. Then on this bolt we've got our head here, and of course we've got the 6 sides of this bolt head. Okay, and there you can see again there on top there is a angled surface of 30 degrees. Okay, all right, and then we have our screw thread here, in Afrikaans jou skroefdraad. Okay, let's look at another example. Okay, this thing I actually picked up the other, I cleaned it, and because there's quite a few components, that's nice to know on this one. So let's start here from the inside. Okay, here we have a spring. I think you could kind of see that quite clearly. This is called a cylindrical spring, cylindrische veer. And you can see there how it actually allows that to open up. Okay, important to know this, cylindrical spring, cylindrische veer. All right. Between these two components that joins the external one and the main body, there's another shaft there. Do you see, running all the way through? Okay. En it's got a klinknaal op die einde, a rivet on the end to join it into place. Okay. Then this might sound simple to you, but you have to know this is a hole. Okay, dis 'n gat. Daar's 3 van hulle. All right. Then on, let me just quickly double check here. This one here, that extends here, is called a dowel or a top. Oh, sorry, it's this one here. That's a dowel or a top. Afrikaans a top or a dowel. It's a piece of metal, and this will also, of course, help it to position in whatever it joins to. Okay. Then on this end here, we've got a couple of things here. We know this is a form of a wheel and a guide here, but what allows this to have very little friction when turning? What's on the inside here? Almal weet dit. A bearing, okay? Of a laar in Afrikaans. A bearing, it's called in English, of a laar in Afrikaans. Now you're going to have to know how that bearing is drawn, and I'm going to show that to you now in a moment. Okay, well, let's see what else is there. Okay, so here maybe is a good, yeah, I think you can see that. So remind me quickly, an internal radius is called a fillet. What would an external radius like this be called when it's on the outside? It's called a round. In Afrikaans, a ronding. Okay, so the moment that radius is inside, it's a fillet. When it's on the outside, it's called a round. Okay, all right. Then you see here, it's not that clear maybe, but there's a bit of a support here to strengthen this part. Okay, and that is called a rib. Rib in Afrikaans and Engels, rib. It's strengthening this component so that it can carry a load here. It's called a rib of a rib. This is maybe a very small example of it, but I think it is, you're able to see that. Okay, all right, let's look at, I've got a piston here. So we're just running through a couple of components because all of it has got some elements that you need to take note of and that you need to be able to apply. All right, so here at the end of our piston, of course, this is the piston arm called, and you can see again there's parts that's quite rough that wasn't machined, but then you have smoother surfaces that has been machined, and it will have that symbol when we actually draw it on the drawing board. Okay, then we have here a pin, and on that end there is a external screw thread. Okay, and that helps us to join this shaft or the arm onto, for instance, our crankshaft. Okay, so this bolt here, I'm just going to take it off for us. That actually has an internal screw thread. Internal screw thread, there's the external screw thread. At the end of this external screw thread, we've got a 45-degree chamfer again. All right. Then we have ribs here on this shaft. What would you think is the reason for this? If you just look at how this is joined here, okay, this pin is compressed or with a lot of pressure pressed through this hole. Okay, this is a very strong material. It has to withstand a lot of movement, and so this is actually increasing the fit, the tightness of this fit of this hole as it is pressed in there. Okay, to be sure that it's a tight fit. Okay, so that's the reason for that. It's increasing the fit of that, the strength of that fit. All right, here's the top of our piston head, and there you can see also certain parts again machined or not machined. There we have this is a spring. What is this one? It's got the two holes there. We're going to see it maybe now when we do but there's actually a spring in there, which you have the right tool, you will compress these two ends and you'll be able to take out that spring. Sorry, I forgot the name of that. There we have a shaft again on the inside. So this spring is keeping our piston head and the arm in place. You see that? So it's basically just going to press in and you're going to have that spring there that the moment you release it, it closes up this end, closes up this end, and it stays in place. All right, let's see what else I have. We've already spoken about our internal screw threads. That's fine. Yeah, okay, that's it. Let's have a look at the actual pages on 2.1, because now we're going to get into practice that which we've just learned. And they've given you an exploded view of the different components. Now, I'm not going to write each one of these. That's your responsibility, but I will talk you through the next few pages in this video. So if you really want to gain understanding, keep watching and keep paying attention if you're in class, of course. All right, so let's zoom in here, and luckily they've given us in a good order, and so we're going to take our time, and you can kind of identify that which you've just seen with some of these parts that we're going to have a look at. Okay, all right, so let's go up. If you are able to answer them without my help, you can shout it out. So the first component, just maybe when it's got the dot at the end, it's referring to the entire component, just for your sake. When it's an arrow, it's pointing to a specific feature. Okay, so number one here is called the flange. Flange, F-L-A-N-G-E, and Afrikaans is the flens. A flange. It's exactly what's going to go onto this end here. Okay, if you see there, look at how it's joined. There is a keyway, there's a keyway, and there's the key. Just like I explained to you, okay? So take note of it. Of course, the kind of key is different. The one here is a Woodruff key. This one is just a traditional key, but the way they join together is through a keyway. So that's the next one. Number two, keyway on this flange that fits over that one. Does that make sense to you? Maak het veel afsit sin. Lekker om dit so te kan sien, nee. Dan wat? Die flens. Ja, spygleef. In Afrikaans is dit 'n spygleef. Albei hierdie nommer 2 en nommer 3 is 'n spygleef. En number 4 is a spy. Okay, so we've got keyways for 2 and 3, and then key for number 4. Yes? So above 2 and 3. That's right, yes. Alright, let's see how well you listen, because number 5 I also mentioned, if I have a shaft and there's an angled part going from bigger diameter to a smaller one, it's called a taper. Well done, Mr. Heeman, of an Afrikaans tapsheid. Tapsheid. You need to write it in now, né? There's no answer book for you. You need to follow this. All right. Then number 6 here, that is just referring to this bigger part, which is a shaft, or for us in Afrikaans. Then number 7, we also spoke about this. It's on that shaft, there's a shoulder. So it's called a shoulder on a shaft. In Afrikaans, skouer op 'n as, né? Skouer of skouer. Skouer of skouer op 'n as. Okay. This end here, I'm sure everybody should be able to guess in class. What does it look like? Square. Vierkant op as. Square on shaft. Hey, so we go from a circular shaft to a square shaft. What would be the reason for that, maybe? Again, to transfer torque, to transfer movement. Hey, if I have a square there, whatever is fitted onto that is going to, if you look here at this actual drawing, you can see that that square fits into that square. Do you see that? And so it will turn, number 15, which is our rim. We'll look at that now. Okay. Then, number 9 here, that is our bush, and that will fit over, in this case, over here at number 7, which is our shoulder. So that is a bush, bus in Afrikaans, jy het bybly, hier gaat ons. Number 10 refers to this full component, and that is, number 10 refers to this part of it, and that is a web. If I would ask you in class, what's the reason for a web? Wat sê jy dink was die rede vir daai web? Kom. Thank you so much. It's supporting this structure to be able to withstand movement. Nee, it's giving support to this top part. Yes. 'n Rib en 'n web is dieselfde ding. Afrikaans is dit 'n rib. Ja, so 'n rib of 'n web in Afrikaans, dieselfde. Rib, ja. So you can say rib or web. Ja. R-I-B. Afrikaans R-I-B, rib. Okay. Number 11 here, it's this hole going through, it's a bore hole, so it's a hole going through, it was drilled through, bore, and Afrikaans 'n deurloopgat. Number 11, deurloopgat. Alright, number 12 refers to this entire component, which is a boss, like Hugo Boss, same boss. Okay, Afrikaans is it 'n naafbuskop. Look here people, I honestly can't tell you why they came up with these names. All I know is you need to know these components. Okay, so it's time for you to make notes and remember it. Alright, number 13 here is a collar. In Afrikaans, 'n kraagbus. Okay, it will be the same diameter here as our bush. Kraagbus. Alright, and then you're going to number 14, which is part of this rim. It is a spoke. Speek, soos 'n wielspeek, nee, speke, daar's 4 van hulle. Spoke. And they can be circular, of course, but they support the number 15, which is your rim. Die velling. Rim of die velling is number 15. Okay, good. You guys are doing excellent job. Let's move on. Number 16, it's the hub of this rim, of in Afrikaans die naaf. So hier het jy die naafbuskop, daar het jy die naaf. In English, it's called the hub. Okay, this part here. Then number 17 on the outside, or well, this component in total is called something that's very common to you, a pulley. Of in Afrikaans, 'n katrol. Okay, katrol, pulley. Okay, then we continue. Let's jump to number 18. You know what that is already. It is a rib of a web. Well done. Number 19, this base here, that is called the bracket base. In Afrikaans, die steenstuk. It's going to, if you see here, that number 25, which is our lug, fits over 27, which is the dowel or the tap. Right, and so each component here will fit and have it placed exactly where it needs to be. Okay, but it's called our bracket. In Afrikaans, die steenstuk. Alright, number 20, there we go. So that is our round. Let me see here. They say it's a fillet. Can that be? Where's the internal one? Number 20, the fillet. Okay, I'll just double check that one. Number 19 here, sorry, I'm over 21. This is there, it's a table on which this fits. In Afrikaans, die blad. Number 22 is 'n slot of 'n groef. Number 20 is 'n ronding of 'n fillet. Okay. Then number 22 we've said is a slot or in Afrikaans 'n groef. Slot, S-L-O-T. Alright, number 23. Alright, this hole, if it has a flatter part that's wider than the hole itself, it's called a spot face hole. Spot face hole. In Afrikaans, koolvlak gat. Koolvlak gat. In English, spot faced hole. When it's got that flat part, then it's spot faced, koolvlak. When it's number 24, that is a counterbore, parallel versinkte gat. Okay, so I think it's difficult to see the difference between these two, counterbore and a parallel versinkte gat. Those differences, the one is deeper, than the other one. But when they just give you one, it will be difficult to identify. So just for yourselves, if it's very shallow, you refer to it as a spot-faced hole. If it's a bit deeper, refer to it as a counterbore hole. In Afrikaans, parallel versinkte gat. Parallel versinkte gat. Eerste een was 'n koolvlak gat. Okay, just double check those two. They're very much similar. Alright, when it's at an angle here, that's easier. That's a countersunk hole. Countersunk. Afrikaans is dit 'n versinkte gat. Versinkte gat. Versinkte gat. Okay. Nummer 27 het ek gewys vir julle. Dit is 'n tap. In English that's called a dowel. Tap of a dowel. Alright. Then this hole here at number 28. So what is interesting about this hole, it does not go all the way through. So it's blind. Looking through that, you can't see all the way through. So it is blind. Blinde gat. Blind hole. Blind hole. Easy to remember that one. It doesn't go all the way through, so you can't see through it. It's a blind hole. Blinde gat, yes.
Number 26, countersunk.
Well done. Yeah, 26 is the countersunk. Number 27 is the dowel. Number 28 is the blind hole. Afrikaans, 26 is die versinkte gat. 27 is die tap. En 28 is die blinde gat. Okay, 25. I missed it. Oh, okay. That is a lug, hingsel, lug. It's this part here that comes out here. Lug, hingsel. Don't ask me why. Alright, let's check here number 31, or 30, which is the next, 29. Alright, so this is an easy one. You can see there it's got that shape of a T. So it's a T groove. T-groove. Nee? T-groove. T-groove. Number 30, that's that 45-degree chamfer, afkanting, 45 grade afkanting wat jy al gesien het. Nommer 31 is tapversinking, recess. Look, honestly, it's so difficult to see the difference between many of these things. So when they ask this in the exam, it will be much clearer, né? When you get this as a test. But just for now, make sure you know the correct name. It's called a recess, tapversinking. Very much similar to this part here, né? But there's no hole going through. So it's just this part here that they want to fit in there. So it's also very close to a blind hole. Alright, then at 32, that is the spigot. Spigot, it fits into this recess. In Afrikaans is it 'n tapspen wat in hierdie tapsversinking ingaan. Tapspen en tapsversinking. So die twee gaan saam gaan. Ek dink hulle sal dit so vir jou wys ook in die eksamen. So make sure you write it down for you. This is called the spigot and that is the recess. In Afrikaans is dit die tapsversinking en daai is die tapspen. And then the last thing for you to take note of is 33. It's right here on top and that is your oil hole. Oliegat. Oil hole, oliegat. Okay. Alright, let's see if we can do 2.2 as well. Okay, we're going to start, maybe I can zoom it out a bit so you just see the bigger picture here. Okay, so there is a beautiful drawing given by the guys from HSE. Exploded view of a mechanical assembly. Plus, in this case, they've also sectioned it so that we can see the inner workings of it. And there's a few more components that we're quickly going to look at. But some of them you already are familiar with. Let's zoom in so that now you can follow with me closely by. We're just going to go again from 1 till 2. So, number 1 is the pin. Pen. Pen. Afrikaans, English, it's called a pin. Right. Number 2 is a ring. Now you can see here, if you look at this drawing, that this shaft has got a square on the shaft. If it goes through the bush and all the way through our flywheel, it goes through this square. Do you see what happens? This pin falls through this hole, through that hole there. Alright? And it's going to fasten our shaft onto this hole. Does that make sense for you? So everything that you're going to see in mechanical assembly is going to have these kind of features and, of course, reasons for being there. Okay, so the pin ties in this shaft through this ring onto the flywheel. All right. Number 3 here is our hub. Ja. Ring. Okay, number 3 is your nav, and we've done just in the previous drawing, so you should be starting to get this. Hub. Okay. What's number 5? Help me out. Oh, number 4. Let's do number 4. 4 is there. It's the wheel. It could also be the rim, nee? Okay, die wiel of die rim in Afrikaans, is dit 'n rim gewees? Okay. Velling, okay? Wiel of 'n velling. What would 5 be? Spokes, speke, mooi so. Alright, let's go on. Number 6 in total. Okay, now, okay, sorry, so you see this is, number 4 is the wheel, then 6 is the rim, velling. Yeah. So, it's the wheel, and that part is the rim, the outside is the rim. Okay, die velling is in die buitekant, maar die hele saak is 'n wiel. Okay. Alright, let's move on. Number 7 here, that is the body. In Afrikaans die romp. Okay, die romp. Dan nommer 8 is weer die naafgat. Die naafgat, ja, of die, in English is called the bore. Remember that for the previous one, bore, Afrikaans naafgat. Nommer 9 verwys na die hele saak wat die naafbuskop is. In English, this entire part is called the boss. Boss. Like you go boss, man. I'm the boss. Ja. So nommer 7 verwys na die romp. Okay? Na die op die onderstel, die saak wat hom mekaar hou. Okay? The body. Alright, let's look at number 10. Number 10 is your bush. Alright, it's not a complete bush that they've shown you here. Then we've got number 11. You know that? What is it? Square on a shaft. Vierkant op 'n as. Number 12 is going to be this shaft in total. And number 13. Yes. On the shaft we have a what? Shoulder, skouer op 'n as, shoulder on a shaft. Number 12 is 'n as. Dit wys na die hele saak. Nummer 10 is 'n bus. Bus. Is 'n bus. Alright, number 14, you know that, what's it come? Let's go. Keyway, spygleef, mooi. Then 15 is the key, well done, spy. Then we have, at 16 there, it's very small, but that's the keyway on actually our flange, or of ons flens, het daar 'n klein spygleef. Number 17 is a bolt, a boat, en dan het ek net gesê 18 is die flens of the flange. Okay, yeah, keeping up. All of this is put together, so we go back all the way there to the bottom. Now with number 19, we again have a flange, so we've got 2 flanges that's going to be bolted together with that bolt we just looked at, and the nut. Do you see that? So that nut puts the 2 flanges together via a bolt. Okay, happy? Again, we've got, they didn't ask it, but there you can see the key and the keyway, how that fits together. What is number 21? Yes. Topside, mooi so. Taper, good. Then we go to 22, which is a cover plate, deck plate, cover plate. It covers our bearing. Why would you have a cover plate that covers a bearing? Why? Yes, dust, to keep it clean. All right. Number 23 here, no wait, 22 we've done. 23 is a hole. Ek het jou gesê jy moet kan weet dis 'n gat. Mooi so, net 'n gat, okay? Number 24, we've got our bearing, ons laar. 25, you know, it's a rib. What's interesting, look at this. Do I section a rib? Gaan ek 'n rib arseer as ek hom sny? No, not when I cut through the length of it. That's why you see here very clearly it's not sectioned. Nee. It would have been very confusing if we had section lines all the way through. So a rib is never sectioned. Okay. Number 26 I missed. taped hole, getapte gat. So that is a screw thread on the inside there. So it will actually use, they will use this bolt to tie the cover plate on. Eh? Number 26. It's a taped hole, or tapped hole, sorry, tapped, 2-piece, tapped. Afrikaans getapte gat. Okay, then 27 here is an oil cavity. It's actually 20. Alright, that's the oil. There's the oil hole, oily gat. I think they're numbering there, oil hole, oily gat. They say 27 is an oil cavity. So if I put oil into that, it will, of course, fill this cavity here. Okay, oily holte. Oily holte of oily gat. And that oil will ensure that there's not friction on the shaft when it moves. Okay. Alright, then the last two on 29 is a V-belt pulley, a veerband katrol. V-belt pulley, I think a lot of you have seen that before. There's one more on here, that was number 12 that I missed, and that's just the shaft, the as here. So, alright, there's one more page. If you are wanting to stay with me, we're going to do one more page, and that is page 2.3, and then we will be done with the preparations for our actual mechanical analytics. So let me just organize myself here for a moment. Okay, so these are again different components. This is most likely how they will ask it for you come the exam. Alright, they'll actually show for you the detailed representation, and you have to draw, then give it a label. Okay, now I'm going to have to help you with this one because they want us to draw freehand the different components. So we're going to see how far we get here. Alright, so there's a detailed way of representing a straight knurl, and there is a conventional representation. A straight knurl is at the end of a shaft that I want to be able to make adjustments. Why would they put knurling on there? Why? For grip. Your water bottle has knurling on it, straight knurling on it, when you open that up. Okay, so the way that you will draw it, now I'm just going to, you can stay with me here, try and keep it neat, okay? Yeah, so just as we draw, I'm going to teach you some things. This is called an S-break here on the end. You have to have your center line also here, alright? And then that knurling is just lines equally spaced, or not equally spaced, on the outside a bit closer on the inside, so that it kind of gives you that idea. Okay, that is straight knurling. We're going to go quick because we don't have much time. Diamond knurling, it's similar. Your radio at home has got diamond knurling on its knobs, but they use it, of course, in mechanical also. So we've got our S-break here on the end that needs to be hatched. This is all center line, and then we're just going to do a freehand diamonds. Okay, that's the conventional representation. This is how we will most of the time draw it. Then a dowel or a pin, they just want us to be able to draw the end of that. So put a plus in there, color the different parts, and then the last thing here is we need to have our center lines. Okay, that's the end of a pin. So we're going to go quick. Remember we did a cylindrical spring, and this is how we draw it. So we're always going to have the center line, and then we have the start straight line, and then we're going to go zip, 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 and you can do as many as you want here, but you have to end with a line that is straight. Okay, makes sense? Can have a few more springs in there if you want to. They didn't specify the amount. Maybe try and get it a bit more even than that, but that is the conventional interpretation of a cylindrical. Alright, then they want us to show a symmetrical component. Now, what is a symmetrical component? It's when the one side of the center line is exactly the same as the other side. So what you're going to draw is, you're going to draw this half. Okay, I'm not going to try and draw it all in detail because I'm wanting to finish this drawing, but you're going to draw this half exactly like it was given. and you are going to add your center line. Okay, just going to try and do this quickly. Ooh, glory. Okay, don't be mad at me. All right, this part is hatched, of course. I know it doesn't look 100%, but the part that shows the symmetrical is 2 lines on the top here. It goes like this and this. That is the symmetry part. They want us to indicate symmetry. So at the end of that center line, make sure you have 2 lines. 2 lines. Are you with me? That's the important part. All right. Let's go on to the next line. This is the symmetrical component. Now there's, of course, a lot here. Again, if it's a circular symmetrical component, all you have to do is you draw a quarter of this. So, got one circle here. You can draw it much, you should draw it much more accurately than I'm doing, but what I'm doing is I'm just drawing this top off. I'm copying that top off, and what am I going to do here? I'm going to add the 2 lines again, same here. Sorry, that's out of the drawing. Okay? Are you with me? So that's, I don't have to draw the full part. Here is holes on a circular pitch. This one is important. I asked this 100 times. So when I have holes on a circular pitch, I can draw my circle, freehand. You glory, okay? And then I put, always when you have a circle, what do you need? You always need a center line. Okay? And then I do 1 hole. And all I do for the rest of them is the center. Yo, please take more time when drawing this. Okay? And all I'm doing is I'm adding the center lines here, where there would be a circle. Okay? So when there's holes on a circular pitch, I can draw it that way. Does that make sense to you? Okay. Can I quickly add something? The abbreviation for this, because I ask it in English, it's a PCD. Okay? Right there. It stands for pitch, circle, diameter. Okay? In Afrikaans is dit 'n SSD. Dit staan vir steek, sirkel. Ja, steek, sirkel, diameter. Okay, what is that? That PCD, the SSD, is this diameter. Okay, of the center of those circles. Pitch, circle, diameter. So they can tell you the PCD is 100 millimeters, and you know it's that diameter. They are going to ask this of you, I can guarantee you that. No, PCD, what is the abbreviation? Pitch, circle, diameter. SSD, waarvoor staan dit? Steek, cirkel, diameter. Wat is dit? Dis daai diameter wat die centers van al die cirkels verduidelik. Yes or no? Happy? Alright. Holes on a linear. So you're going to do exactly the same as this one. You're going to have your rectangle. You're going to draw one of them, pick one, with its center. And for the rest of them, you're again just doing the, netjies as myne, you're doing all the centers. Okay? Then let's get to the bearing, because this is the detailed representation. We have to do the conventional. So I'll do this one quickly. There's the shaft. Got our S-brake in here. Sorry, I flipped mine now. Doesn't matter. Alright. And then at the end here, what do I have? I've got my bearing, and this is the way that you are going to indicate it. Alright. This part here with an X in. Okay. And a center line running all the way through. Okay. The same for the next one. Let me quickly show you the answers. There's the square on the shaft. Alright. And then the last part here, the different interrupted views, I actually showed you the S-brakes. If it's a pipe, there's a hollow dot there. Do you see that? Let me zoom in a little bit. Alright, it's hollow. And then, of course, if it's a straight brake, or if it's just a brake, you can do it like that. One, just sit with me. Then a spur gear, there's it. Alright, there's the conventional way of drawing it, the front view and the right side view. External screw threads, we'll take time to look at that. That's how we would draw it. You've done this in grade 10. Internal screw thread, so practice that. Screw thread assembly when we've got both of them together. And the last thing is repeated features. This is an important one. They asked it last year in grade 12. So please make sure, repeated features. I'm not going to draw every feature. I just show the center lines again. All right. That's it. Thank you. All the best. Make sure you draw them for me for the next period. All right. Cheers.